Hi everyone, and thank you for watching this. If you're watching, it's either because you have mental health issues, or I shouldn't really call it a issue, a mental health um, disease, or something that you just feel that isn't wired correctly and makes you depressed, anxiety, bipolar, whatever it may be. um, or you're just someone that is a friend of mine that wants to understand that what I've been going through, as well as what other people, or maybe even yourself, go through. So first of all, thank you for watching this. Means a lot to me. Um, I originally did this, and it was just one long-winded, hour of a bunch of different things, and I felt like I didn't get everything that I wanted into the video. I felt like it was pushed through really quickly, and I know that over an hour, people are going to tune out. So my goal is to do it in parts, maybe in anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes, if not sooner than that. This one is kind of the introduction of what I'm doing, what I'm going to present, and why I'm doing it, and just overall take you through the process of my relapsing, and so to speak, and how I get back after it, and now my goal is to try to prevent it. And I think part of the reason I'm doing this is to make myself more aware and kind of force myself to do it by letting other people know that I'm even aware of the situation. So right off the bat, let me tell you who I am. My name is Logan Dallas Hauser. I'm a football coach. That's probably one of the more prouder things in my life. I love the game, and I love mentoring people, and I love mentoring young student athletes. I'm a coach. I'm a salesman. I'm a brother. I'm a son. I'm an uncle, which is also something I'm really happy about. I'm a dog owner, and I'm a friend. So I wear many different titles, and I have many people that I've been around, that I've touched and felt like I've had a significant role in their life. Let me just tell you this right off the bat, that I feel as if I've lived a very great life. Okay. I have been able to graduate high school, which, for some, that's not the easiest. I've been able to graduate college, play college football, coach college football, which was a goal of mine. Buy a house, have a tremendous job that allows me to live on my own and live a lifestyle where I can buy, for the most part, what I want at certain times. I have a good family, good friends. I'm single, not married, no kids. Those are goals of mine. So it's not like I have a terrible life. There's just something that I don't know if it's a chemical imbalance, because I don't know enough about that part, but it's something that's just not wired for me. So I've lived a great life. Again, thoughts on why I'm doing this. A couple months ago, I posted about myself and anxiety and depression, and I thought by doing that, I was taking a next step, and I think I did, but I allowed myself to get back into a situation that made me even more depressed than it was previously, and I relapsed. And thankfully, something clicked just a little bit ago, where I am back on this trail of, like, I figured it out. I found it. I need to pay attention and continue on that. So that's first and foremost, is realizing that's a problem or an issue. The other reason I'm doing it is there's multiple, people in my life that it's not even brought up or thought about or talked about. My mother just had a situation where her stress and anxiety was so high that her blood pressure was 200 over, or it was over 200 over 130, something like that. And she had to be taken to the hospital. And I didn't even know that she suffered from those things. And so that's just one person. Another person that was a family friend of ours. We were always close. We used to go to their house to watch the Dallas Cowboys game. There was a person that I went out to coffee with, and I don't drink coffee, but they had coffee. I had water, and she was just kind of telling me how she was going through certain things, and it was very similar. Obviously, not every story is the exact, but you can relate to it. And I didn't know that they were going through that situation, and it just made I took a step back and said, wow, like I'm not alone in this matter, which made me feel really good. Obviously, I don't want that person to go through what I've gone through, and maybe mine's a little bit more severe, or maybe hers is, but whatever it may be, it kind of just had me understand what they were going through. And again, her situation might not be as extreme as mine. It was just like she had certain things that made me think like, oh, I've been there. And lastly, I had a friend of mine tell me that he was so depressed that he will go out just to have interaction. He was thinking about going to an AA meeting because he was drinking every single night. And it was just because he was going to the bar to have social interaction with people. So, we all go through certain different situations, and, I felt, and maybe at that time I should have spoken up and said, I go through it too. But I wasn't sure. This is all very new to me. So I just sat there and listened, and I thought it was a big stepping stone, because over the last couple of weeks, when I started to realize that I relapsed in the situation, and I started to recognize that other people have this, and now that I'm starting to communicate this with people, someone also told me that they suffer very similar symptoms that I have, and it's just because I'm opening up. And again, I got teary-eyed. I don't think that person knew I got teary-eyed, but it made me feel like, because I'm opening up, I'm not alone and I'm understanding it. I want to say that this is not a cry for help. I don't have, at this point right now, I don't have suicidal thoughts. It's just like me kind of venting and telling my story, and hopefully it touches other people, because when people are telling me about theirs, it's definitely touching me. Mental Health Awareness Month was just yesterday. It ended. But I think mental health, because you surround yourself with so many good people, you don't ever really talk about it or bring it up. And I think that you need to do that. And this is kind of my way of saying, like, I don't care if it was last month. I think mental health, if you have it, should be brought up at any point if you're comfortable with it, so that people can help you. If you're not comfortable with it, hopefully you find someone that is trustworthy to discuss that with you. And I think that, for myself, that's one of the biggest issues. When you have depression, anxiety, it's hard because you don't know who to talk to at that point. I suffer from, there's a lot of trust issues in my past relationships. I've caused some, and other people have caused some. In different situations, the way they went about it, there was a lot of non-trust there. So when you're wanting to talk to someone about something serious and have them there for you and help you out, it's really hard to know who to lean on to. And just in my past relationship, I tried to lean on someone and tell them I made my anxiety up front. And when I was going through something really bad, the person informed me that they didn't want to deal with it at that time, and it was a roller coaster. And this was the first time where I took a step back and said, I don't want to be with that person because of what they just said. It was very rude. It's something that I suffer from, and I've gone through so many things for that person and with that person, that it just, thankfully it didn't beat me up enough where I said, I'm not going to trust anyone else. I'm now saying, like, fuck it. I'm going to tell people, about my situation, and let them know, not so much up front, but I'm going to let them know because, I shouldn't be embarrassed by it. And that person kind of made me feel terrible about my situation and how how I'm wired up top, instead of really, taking a step back and just being like, hey, calm down. Here's the situation, when, whatever it may be, we'll sit down. I'll help you with it. Like, that's your partner. Your partner should better you. And even the people you tell them, they shouldn't just want to blow it off and say it's a roller coaster. I don't have time for this right now. If you don't talk about, say you could talk about it at this point, can you wait until this point? How about we go to get coffee and to talk about it? Thankfully, I have a good friend, that I reached out to even prior to this all. And they were willing to just sit down, not even know the situation. We just wanted to catch up, but I knew I was going to vent to this person because we're friends, but she's not close enough to me where other people are going to find out. And that's obviously a biggest, fear. So with all that being said, the trust, it's not that I don't have a great support system. I have a great mother and father. They've stayed together through a lot of difficult times. And I know that I can reach out to them and talk to them about a couple different things. Most of the time, if I'm talking to my mom and dad, it's either I'm joking around or I'm complaining about, like work or football, or like just how stressed out I've been and things like that. But I've never really told them my depression, anxiety, and how I suffer from it day in and day out. Same with my brother and sister. I'm always there for them. I'm always there for my nephews. And realistically, my nephews are always there for a great distraction. Like, I forget about a couple different things, but once they leave, I know that I'm thinking about it right away. So I have a good family in place, as well as I have a lot of great friends that have had my back. I have a great friend at work. He's probably one of my best friends. I could tell him a lot. 5 years ago, if you would have said we would have been this close, I would have not thought we would be as close of a friends as we are now, and I know I could talk to his wife about certain things, and she's been really nice. I have, people on the football staff that have become, great friends to me. A couple of them become mentors. Some of them just have become really, really good family members, so to speak. And I hang out with their wives a lot, and they give me advice as well. And they've really been there for me when I've needed them. But again, all these people I'm telling you about never really realized that I was going through depression and anxiety. I just told them what my problems were, but I never said I'm really depressed about this or I have a ton of anxiety about this. I've just said, and I've kind of worded it enough to make it seem like I was fine, but also I've worded it to make it seem like I'm better than what I was doing at that time, or the stresses that I had were like I pushed it on someone else or the other person, when realistically it's like, what am I going through? What am I doing? And that's really tough. I have the two people that I've told a lot about, and I can call and text, and they will really drop everything for me, are my two aunts. And I apologize, I might get emotional in some of these videos. They're going to be parts, but my aunts are two of the best people I've ever met. I can recall when I've gone through just one person, the one in particular, whenever I go through something, I'm at her house for hours. 4 hours. And she is nothing but the best person to me. And, God put her in my life for a reason. Same with my the other one. The way that she just makes me feel like everything's going to be okay. One will give me advice. The other one will make me feel like everything is going to be okay. And that is big, especially when you're suffering from depression and anxiety. because the stages that I've gone through have been so severe and so deep that if I didn't have those two, one to give me advice and the other one to just tell me everything's going to be okay and tell me that she loves me, I might not be here today. They have really, really been there for me. Some of my depression and anxiety, and this, you might see this guy in between. He's a big support system too. Whenever I'm down or I start getting teary-eyed or cry, he's always here for me. He's also a big pain in the butt. All right, come on, get down. I see you. I also have a lot of insecurities. My body is something I'm very insecure about. I work out all the time. I try to watch what I eat as much as I can and try to really push myself to get to the gym every single day. I'm insecure at times when I hear other people talk about where they're at. It's not that I hate or I'm jealous. I just want to be on their level, and sometimes that stuff has bit me in the butt, and I've lied and I've told extended the truth a bit to make myself feel better and tell them the position that I'm at really isn't that position, or just anything in life, and not talking about career or anything, but just where I'm at any different way. I wear some of my insecurities. I'll wear Polo and Nike. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Polo and Nike. I didn't have the nicest clothes growing up. I lived in a house that was with five people that were 3-bedroom, 1 bath. And my parents grinded on to get out of that situation, and I live in a house better than I grew up in, but we didn't have the nicest of the nice stuff, and now that I'm able to, I buy that stuff, but I also think that I'm masking a lot of my insecurities. I have a lot of faults. I've lied and I've cheated on people. I've pushed people away because of my insecurities, and I've been a quick reaction on some of those things, and I think all the insecurities and my faults have led me to some of my own depression and anxiety, because it eats me up. I've built up a conscience. So that's kind of the intro. I'm running over almost on 20 minutes now. I don't want to go over that, but what you'll see is there's going to be different videos that come out, telling how I've allowed my relationships bring me down. And allowed those things to affect me so severely that it's had me at suicidal thoughts. Never acted on it, but I've been that depressed. I also will talk to you about how I've relapsed at times, and how I've battled back. And also, I think there's going to be a video where I'll talk to you about what I'm doing to achieve. To cope with it, but also to get better each and every day. These videos are definitely going to be stage 1 of all these things. Again, this is not a cry for help. I'm not trying to embarrass myself or anyone else when I talk about these things. I'm not trying to bash anyone. What it is I'm telling you my story and how I've gotten to where my depression has been so bad that it has really drastically taken me, down a notch and not made me probably live the fullest life that I've wanted to live. And hopefully this, people see this, turn a leaf and say, here's how I'm going to get better. This person is very similar to me, because I've started to learn there's a lot of other people. Again, thank you for everyone that's going to be watching this. This is my journey through mental health issues or awareness of myself. And, with this, feel free to reach out to me, to my support team. If you're just watching to find out where I'm at, and didn't notice about me, I apologize. Don't feel upset or mad, but I think this is going to be a great step for you guys to learn further into some of the things that I've never told you. Once again, thank you, and on to the next video.